Mornings in the Preston Hollow district were always quiet. Elizabeth Montgomery was tending to the roses in her garden, one hand cradling her growing belly. The Texas summer sun was already blazing, and she wiped the beads of sweat from her forehead as she looked up at the sky. In the neighborhood, luxury SUVs were emerging one by one from their garages, heralding the graceful start of another day. "John, we're going to be parents soon." Speaking to her husband, who had been lost in a traffic accident 6 months ago, had become her daily ritual. Though she had been successful as a real estate agent in this upscale neighborhood, after her husband's death, she had returned to Dallas, where her family lived, to find some peace of mind. Now she had become one of the most accomplished agents in the area, trusted by wealthy clients. The bells of Highland Park Presbyterian Church rang out 8 o'clock in the distance. Elizabeth tidied away her gardening tools with practiced hands while mentally organizing her schedule for the day ahead. 3 property viewings, followed by contract preparation. Despite being 8 months pregnant, her professional dedication hadn't wavered one bit. "Oh, Elizabeth. Gardening again? At your age, you shouldn't be wasting time on such trivial hobbies." Her mother Helen appeared, dressed in expensive tennis wear. Helen, who wielded considerable influence in Dallas society, always maintained an impeccable appearance. Around her neck gleamed a pearl necklace, supposedly inherited from her grandmother. "But Mom, the doctor said moderate exercise is good." Think of appearances. A pregnant woman getting dirty in public. You do understand our position, don't you? Have you thought about what people in Highland Park will think? With those parting words, Helen disappeared into the garage with her golf bag. Elizabeth let out a deep sigh. Though she had moved closer to her family home, the emotional distance between them only seemed to grow wider. "Sis, will you watch the news tonight? I'm the main anchor for the special feature." Her sister Ashley appeared, looking pristine with perfect makeup and hair. As a successful anchor at the local TV station DNBC, she was the family's pride. On her arm hung the latest designer bag, every inch the image of a successful career woman. "Yes, of course, what's the special about?" "New tourist spots in Dallas. I handled the location shooting myself. We're expecting good ratings." Ashley was already absorbed in her smartphone. Posting selfies on social media was part of her daily routine. Her follower count was extraordinarily high for a local station anchor, and that was a source of her confidence. When Elizabeth announced her pregnancy, her family's reaction had been cold. Her mother had uttered the words, "single mother," as if it were a curse. The words, "a disgrace to the Montgomery family," still rang in her ears. Her sister had offered congratulations, but her eyes hadn't smiled. Later, Elizabeth had accidentally overheard Ashley telling a friend, "Raising a child is so difficult. I could never handle it." Elizabeth quietly placed a hand on her belly. 1 month until her due date. Friends she had met in the hospital's maternity class talked about family support as if it were a given. Their mothers accompanying them to hospital appointments, sisters helping with birth preparations. But for her, such happiness seemed out of reach. During her final checkup at Baylor University Medical Center, her doctor had asked worriedly, "Do you have family support?" Elizabeth could only smile in response. "We'll get through this together." Speaking to her baby, Elizabeth made a firm resolution. Even if she was alone, she would walk this new path in life with her child. Under the scorching Texas sun, her roses bloomed with powerful vitality. A sharp pain pierced through the midnight darkness. Elizabeth curled up, trembling on her bed. The clock showed 2 a.m. She was supposed to have 2 more weeks until her due date. Yet these pains were unmistakably contractions. In the nighttime stillness, only her labored breathing echoed. Outside the window, the street lights of Preston Hollow District flickered quietly. The luxury residential area, lined with mansions, was wrapped in midnight darkness, without a sound. Stay calm. I must stay calm. Muttering to herself, she started the timer app on her smartphone. As she had learned in maternity class, she began timing the intervals between contractions. Cold sweat ran down her back. These were real contractions. An ambulance? No, insurance might not cover it. The thought alone made her head spin. The hospital's social worker had repeatedly warned her about the high cost of ambulance services in Texas. The photo of her husband on the bedside table smiled gently. "John, what should I do?" Tears rolled down her cheeks. If her husband were alive, they would probably be on their way to the hospital by now. Elizabeth took a deep breath and dialed her mother's number. The ringtone echoed several times. When the call finally connected, loud music and laughter could be heard in the background. "Hello?" Her mother's voice sounded sleepy. "No, drunk." "Mom, please, my contractions have started. Can you take me to the hospital?" A moment of silence. Then, "I can't right now. We're in the middle of your sister's birthday party." Her mother's voice was filled with anxiety and irritation. The sound of clinking glasses could be heard in the background. "But I'm scared to be alone." Elizabeth's voice trembled. Another wave of contractions hit her. "Why don't you call an ambulance? We're busy. At this hour of the night." "Mom, please. It's Ashley's 29th birthday party. Many important people from society are here. Surely you understand?" Someone's laughter echoed in the background. The pop of a champagne cork. Her mother continued. "Besides, such a sudden delivery, did you properly consult with the hospital? Isn't there some problem? Isn't it because of your careless lifestyle? You're always overworking, I keep telling you." Elizabeth's eyes welled up with tears at her mother's accusatory words. The baby asserted its presence again with another strong pain. That pain felt far more honest than her mother's cold words. "Put Ashley on." "Oh, all right. But keep it short. We're about to start the toast." Through the receiver, she could hear her mother calling for her sister. "Sis? Things are really heating up here. DNBC executives came, and everyone's talking about my future. Such wonderful conversations." Ashley's voice was high-pitched. She had clearly been drinking. Someone had started playing the piano in the background. "Ashley, please, to the hospital. Everyone wants to celebrate me more than your delivery. Come on, you understand, right? Today is my special day. And you're always getting in my way. I'm about to give a speech." The station director might make a big announcement about my promotion. Your pregnancy is just getting in the way of my special day. Listen, they're going to talk about my promotion to main anchor. Just for today, don't say anything that would embarrass the family. The call suddenly ended. Elizabeth remained frozen in the darkness for a while. Another wave of contractions hit her. They were now 4 minutes apart. Sweat and tears dripped onto her smartphone screen. Finding a taxi in Dallas at midnight was nearly impossible. With trembling fingers, she opened the Uber app. Tonight's late-night rates were more than double the usual fare. Still, she had no other choice. I need to get ready, baby, please wait a little longer. Getting up from the bed, she checked her prepared hospital bag. Insurance card, maternity handbook, change of clothes, towels, she carefully checked each item. Between contractions, she added necessary items. Smartphone charger, cash, and the last photo with her husband. On her way to the front door, she caught sight of the family photo on the wall. Her mother and sister standing with perfect smiles. And herself, standing slightly apart. In the photo, her mother shone as the flower of Dallas society. Her sister wore a proud expression as a popular local anchor. And herself, somehow always standing at the edge. A new contraction hit her. Now 3 minutes apart. Elizabeth leaned against the wall, taking deep breaths. Her hair stuck to her forehead with sweat. Her smartphone vibrated. A notification that the Uber driver would arrive in 5 minutes. Elizabeth took a deep breath and opened the front door. The obstetrics ward at Baylor University Medical Center was about to greet another dawn, just like any other day. Ms. Montgomery, we're here with you. Nurse Maria Rodriguez gently held Elizabeth's hand as she was brought into the delivery room. A petite but strong-willed Hispanic woman in her 40s, her 20 years of experience showed in her composed demeanor. You did well to come by yourself. Elizabeth smiled through the pain. The Uber driver had kindly arranged for a wheelchair. It was an unexpected kindness for a late-night fare. The baby is very healthy. Now, take deep breaths. As contractions washed over her, Elizabeth desperately tried to regulate her breathing. Maria efficiently proceeded with preparations while continuing to talk to her. Have you contacted your family? Yes, but... Maria seemed to sense something in Elizabeth's hesitant expression. I understand. Let's focus on the baby right now. The delivery room clock showed 4 a.m. Outside the window, the first light was beginning to break through the still dark sky. Between contractions, Elizabeth chatted with Maria. The nurse's warm words gradually eased her anxiety. I've raised 3 children while continuing this work. Maria spoke while checking the amniotic fluid test results. Single parenting is challenging, but not impossible. Besides, you have strength within you. At 7 a.m., nurses from the next shift began arriving. Young nurse Sarah Johnson also joined Elizabeth's room. She too spoke kindly to Elizabeth. You'll meet your baby soon. The contractions had reached their peak. Elizabeth cried out. Sweat poured down like a waterfall, her hair was disheveled, and her makeup had long since faded. Still, she pushed with all her might. Mom. She was surprised by her own words. Right now, what she wanted was her mother's presence. "I can see it. Just a little more." The doctor's voice rang out. And then, a cry filled the room. "It's a girl. A very healthy baby." At 8:17 a.m., Elizabeth's daughter, Emma Grace Montgomery, entered this world as a small 6-pound life. When she held her child for the first time, tears rolled down Elizabeth's cheeks. The tiny life quieted almost immediately, as if comforting her mother. "Congratulations, truly." Maria secretly wiped her eyes as she watched the touching moment. In her 20 years as a nurse, she had rarely been so moved by a birth. Several hours after being moved to the recovery room, Elizabeth picked up her smartphone. The room was quiet, and Emma was sleeping soundly in the nursery. Her sister's Instagram was displayed on the screen. The photo showed her sister raising a champagne glass at an upscale restaurant. Her mother and influential society figures were all smiling. Posted at 3 a.m. The time when Elizabeth had been fighting through contractions. With a deep sigh, Elizabeth opened her Facebook page. Then she posted a short message. On August 15, 2024, at 8:17 a.m., my beloved daughter Emma Grace was born. Though I gave birth alone, I was blessed with wonderful medical staff, and both mother and child are healthy. The attached photo showed her sitting in a single chair by the window, Emma sleeping in her arms. In the background, an empty couch. The post exuded the quietness of the hospital room. Within 5 minutes of posting, the number of likes skyrocketed. Then comments began flooding in. Elizabeth turned off her smartphone. Through the nursery window, she could see Emma's sleeping face. The tiny life was oblivious to the world's commotion. At that moment, Maria entered the room. Behind her was Jennifer Walker, known as the local paper's star reporter. "Ms. Montgomery, may I speak with you?" Jennifer's voice was filled with strange conviction. "This isn't just a family matter." Jennifer Walker sat down in the hospital room chair and began speaking quietly. Her instinct as a reporter with 20 years of experience had detected something unusual about this incident. "You see, we've received some interesting information about your sister's party." Elizabeth furrowed her brow. Emma had awakened in the nursery, and a nurse had brought her in for feeding. The tiny life was contentedly drinking milk at her mother's breast. It seems it wasn't just a birthday party. Jennifer took out her smartphone and opened an email. The sender was listed as DNBC Insider. Last night's party was meant to unofficially announce Ashley Montgomery's appointment as main anchor. However, she paused as if choosing her words carefully. However, it wasn't a fair appointment. Your mother used her social connections to arrange it. It was essentially a fixed game. Elizabeth caught her breath. Emma began to cry softly as if protesting. But Ashley is a capable anchor. The viewers support. Indeed, your sister has talent. But there were other strong candidates for the main anchor position. Particularly, a veteran female reporter who had won journalism awards. Jennifer opened a new email. Attached were minutes from an internal station meeting. This reporter had planned a special feature about balancing childcare and work. It was meant to support working mothers. However, your mother portrayed her to sponsor companies as a woman who neglects her family, and instead pushed your unmarried sister. It was supposedly out of consideration for advertisers who value traditional family values. Elizabeth's hands trembled. Emma looked up at her mother anxiously. The evidence. We have internal emails and multiple testimonies. And Jennifer hesitated before continuing. Last night's party was the final piece of the plan. Dealing with executives, consideration for sponsors. All of it took priority over your delivery. Just then, the hospital room door burst open. Elizabeth. Her mother Helen rushed in, having lost her usual elegance. Her expensive designer suit was disheveled, and her usually perfect makeup was smeared. What have you done? Delete that post. Ashley appeared behind her, still in her party dress from the night before, her high heels clicking as she entered. Sis, please. You're ruining my life. Emma let out a loud cry. Nurse Maria quickly entered the room, assessing the situation. Visitors, please be quiet. Her voice lacked its usual gentleness. We're family. Helen raised her voice. That's exactly why you need to be quiet. Think of the baby. Maria stood firm. Well, a Hispanic nurse. You couldn't possibly understand family matters. Helen's voice rang cold. Mother. Elizabeth's cry echoed through the room. Gently holding Emma, she stared at her mother. That's enough. What's enough? We were thinking of your future. No. Jennifer stood up. I have all the evidence. Internal emails, secret agreements with sponsors, and Helen's face turned pale. What was said in front of the executives last night, too. The phrase, single mother who brings shame to the family, was recorded. Ashley slumped against the wall. My career, the station director. The station director will also be interviewed about this matter. Jennifer's voice was calm. At that moment, there was a sound from the hallway. 2 hospital security guards were waiting outside the room. Maria had called them. Ladies, please leave. One of the guards announced politely but firmly. Elizabeth, are you betraying your family? Her mother's voice trembled as she left. No. Elizabeth answered while looking at Emma. I'm simply doing what's right, as this child's mother. After her mother and sister left the room, silence fell. Emma was already asleep. That was a wonderful decision. Jennifer smiled gently. I'll start preparing the feature article. It should become a new hope for working mothers. Outside the window, the strong Texas sunlight was pouring down. It was like the light of truth, illuminating years of darkness. I'll cooperate with your coverage. Elizabeth answered quietly but with conviction. Maria silently placed her hand on her shoulder. That warmth seemed to be blessing the birth of a new family. Truth sometimes brings pain. But beyond that pain lies true happiness. Elizabeth held that conviction in her heart. Emma, smile. In the garden of the Preston Hollow district, Emma, celebrating her first birthday, takes steps forward with a beaming smile. People gathered on the lawn to celebrate her. She's grown into such a lovely child. Nurse Maria had brought a homemade birthday cake. She had become like family to Elizabeth. "It's all thanks to you, Maria," Elizabeth smiled. Over this past year, her life had changed dramatically. Jennifer Walker's feature article won the Texas Journalism Award. Titled "Divided Families: The Conflict Between Modern Motherhood and Tradition," the article resonated across the nation. DNBC withdrew Ashley's appointment as main anchor. Instead, they promoted the veteran reporter who had been advocating for work-life balance. Under the new main anchor's leadership, the station's ratings were steadily rising. "Elizabeth, here are the documents for the new property." A female agent attending the party approached her. Elizabeth's real estate business had achieved unexpected success. Her approach of specializing in family-friendly homes for working mothers had garnered widespread support. "Thank you. The new construction in Preston Hollow is getting very positive responses." On the lawn, Emma was playing with other children. They were all children of Elizabeth's clients. Her office had become more than just a place of business, it had evolved into a community for working mothers. Elizabeth. She turned to find her mother Helen standing at the garden entrance. She no longer possessed her former radiance. Having lost her influence in Dallas society, she was said to be living a quiet life. For Emma, the small box she held out contained the pearl necklace inherited from her grandmother. "My life was bound by appearances and pretense." Helen's voice trembled. "But you're different. You know true strength." A long silence fell between them. "Emma, come here." Elizabeth called to her daughter. Seeing her granddaughter toddle over, tears glistened in Helen's eyes. "This is your grandmother," Elizabeth told Emma. Small hands reached out tentatively. "Oh, how precious." Helen knelt down and embraced her granddaughter for the first time. Meanwhile, Ashley had been transferred to a local station. She was now hosting a weekend morning information program. Recently, she had begun proposing programs supporting working women on her own initiative. "Time changes everything, doesn't it?" Jennifer said, standing close to Elizabeth. "But change isn't necessarily a bad thing." Near the end of the party, it was time for Emma's first birthday photo. Mother and daughter posed together with the roses as their backdrop. Just as the flash went off, Emma kissed her mother's cheek. The crowd burst into delighted exclamations. That photo would later be displayed in Elizabeth's office. Visitors said they found comfort in the happy smiles of mother and daughter. Next to it hung a photo of Emma wearing the pearl necklace, a testament to the genuine bonds being passed down from the past to the future. A new kind of family. It might not be perfect, but true love flourished within it. Elizabeth looked up at the sky in her twilight garden. "John, we're happy." The Texas sunset gently illuminated the roses. Emma was quietly closing her eyes in her mother's arms. Tomorrow would bring another new day. And this mother and daughter story would continue to add new chapters.